Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in to my super chat. Thank you. I'm extremely appreciative if you support my voice during this tough time. I know that you could be spending on other things, but if you want to, support my voice via super chat, thank you so very, very much. I want to read you this article. By the way, subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. I have a great segment out right after this live stream. And Bizarro World Goodman, we're going to get you there. My cousin has taken a long hiatus. Who knows? Maybe he's in Wisconsin at the bars hanging out, but which would make my cousin a hypocrite. But you will love Bizarro World Goodman, so check that out. Subscribe to both channels. The links below are to both channels. I want to read you something really quickly. There's a great Will Bunch article in the Philadelphia Inquirer. It's the same type of article. Oh my God, here we go. Trump is making everything up. There's nothing to see here. Why would the intelligence community and President Obama's administration and why would all of this take place if it didn't have to take place? So if it fits the Democratic Party's narrative, then of course, there was nothing wrong. If it fits President Trump's narrative, then obviously, oh my goodness, there's like Eric H526. Hello, H.A. Hope all is well. Thank you, Eric H526. Luke St. Martin. Thank you so much. Two best moderators in all of YouTube. But this is really important. Before you read anything, before you look at anything to do with what William Barr and John Durham are doing, and with how Democrats defend President Trump's predecessor and the Democratic Party, you need to read. I'll read you the following. It's in every description section of all my segments, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? And I'm going to read you. Oh, Lord, are you kidding me? That's hilarious. I'm going to read you, ladies and gentlemen, if I could find the why is this is so bizarre. Okay. I guess I'll use my phone. I'm going to read you the description section of every one of my segments. Okay? If you look at the description section of every one of my segments, you see the ODNI, old school dad man, and all the doom and gloom will be based on Trump. Exactly. We'll be blamed on Trump. Exactly. All the doom and gloom will be blamed. As usual, it's all Trump's fault. Media never looks at when Andrew Cuomo, on March 1st, said the risk remains low. Oh, I looked at something. Old school damn man. I looked at something. My old segment. Dana 426. I appreciate you very much. I know you from your Twitter days. Dana 426. Wow, thank you so very much. Dana 426. That's old school. Dana 426. Thank you so very, very much. I appreciate that. And they were good people like you on Twitter. It's just, my goodness, you know how Twitter is. That's why once I got that death threat, I was like, I'm done. But Dana 426, thank you so very, very much. Thank you. But everyone, I want to read you, this is the basis of why the whole thing was a setup. The United States intelligence community, counterintelligence, is meant to go after other countries using evidence, not flimsy opinions or viewpoints or hunches or guesses. Okay? The United States intelligence community, the three agencies that stated that Trump might have had something to do with Russia, have like a $30 billion plus budget. They should have come up with evidence, not, we have this dossier purchased by Clinton, and we have an assessment by CrowdStrike, also outsourced by Democrats. Imagine Do you think that Will Bunch of the Philadelphia Inquirer or any of the Washington Post journalists or New York Times journalists, do you think that they would allow Newt Gingrich to buy a dossier about Hillary Clinton, who will be nominee, by the way? Share my Times of Israel article everywhere. It's below in the description section, in the pinned comment. Sorry, in the pinned comment. But Hillary Clinton, not Biden, will be nominee. Share that everywhere. If you're on Facebook or Twitter, I don't have Facebook or Twitter, but share that everywhere. But do you think that they would allow Newt Gingrich, and do you think that they would allow the Bush administration's intelligence apparatus, after they plunged the country into never-ending quagmires and counterinsurgency conflicts, to say, it's our belief that President Obama is working with Russian intelligence because we have a dossier purchased by Newt Gingrich? We just think that's the case. We were really confident. But here, Dana 426, thank you again. Thank you so very much. This is James Clapper, the Director of National Intelligence. This is from the ODNI report. Judgments are not intended to imply that we have proof that shows something to be a fact. Assessments are based on collected information, which is often incomplete or fragmentary. High confidence generally indicates that judgments are based on high-quality information from multiple sources. High confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. High confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. Well, Russia hacked the DNC to favor Trump. Oh, sorry. High confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. They were bluffing, and the reason was because they didn't want Trump. That's it. They just didn't want Trump. Hunty wants to be left alone. Hey, man, hope you're doing well. Thanks for all the great content you give us. Hunty wants to be left alone. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words. Thank you for the kind words. I have such a wonderful, wonderful viewership. Hunty wants to be left alone, and Dana 426. Thank you so very much. The kind words mean a great deal to me. So, all the wonderful sentiments mean a great deal to me. And I just appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you, Hunty. Thank you. Monty Mollenkamp. Thank you, Monty. Great. I love the name Monty. Monty, thank you so very much. Monty, thank you. Hunty wants to be left alone. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Dana 426 from the Twitter days. Thank you so very much. But high confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. Why is this important? This is important because if you go, Trump is right, the word that I cannot use is the biggest political crime in American history. Then, of course, it's from a great journalist, Will Bunch, and then he goes, Team Obama, if anything, was too timid in looking into Trump and Russia. Really? Why? Based on what evidence? The Steele dossier purchased by Clinton, an ODNI report that literally states high confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. What basis? What evidence? What Trump administration official reached out to Russian intelligence to hack the DNC? Do we know the DNC was hacked with certainty? No, we don't. Because the CrowdStrike CEO said he had no concrete evidence. James Clapper said he had no evidence of any of this. He just has high confidence. So you get a whole bunch of people in positions of authority to say that they're highly confident something took place, and then you investigate. But if people said, well, we're highly confident that William D. Campbell, the testimony of an informant from the FBI that said that Russian lobbyists were bragging about their influence over the Clinton Foundation, we're going to investigate based on that. Oh, my God, could you imagine? All you'd hear was, no, you can't investigate. There's no evidence. It's just hearsay. It's just gossip. The phrase, but it refers to a routine process that's used thousands of times by government officials. No, but not for incoming presidential campaigns in the Trump administration and those that came before it. No. Really, refers to used thousands of times by government officials, yeah, but not against incoming presidential campaigns, so that American leaders can dig deeper into legitimate security threats without randomly spying on how is this a legitimate security threat? The DNC is a private entity. It could be hacked by the entire planet. So could the RNC. Like every day for the rest of time, and it still wouldn't be a national security threat. The DNC is a private entity. Democrats and media viewed it to be national security because their view of life is linked directly to if democratic policies are passed. So they view it to be a national security. Then they say, well, do you want your dirty laundry aired? Okay. Well, we have Trump emails recently that I did a segment on that nobody's talking about, or that Democrats aren't condemning. Gee, I wonder why. But the DNC emails, even if they were hacked, is not a security threat. It's not a national security threat. It's an issue with the DNC. And the fact that they cheated Bernie Sanders is the embarrassing part. When they say, well, embarrassing emails. Well, that's the reason they were embarrassing is because they cheated Bernie Sanders. D-Lynn, thank you. So nobody ever says, if the shoe were on the other foot, would they allow it? The issue is they had no reason to investigate President Trump because they don't even know if a crime was, they don't even know the nature of the crime. If the emails were stolen, they don't know, they have no certainty that it was hacked by Russian intelligence because the DNC never gave its servers to the FBI. And guess what? CrowdStrike was outsourced, literally paid by the Democratic Party to look at the servers, and they said we have no concrete evidence. So in the House transcripts, when they're asked directly, do you have any evidence? They have no evidence. So they're bluffing. And they did it all because, just like Peter Strzok said, we'll stop Trump. When, they're so incredulous, Democrats and media. So what? Why would we even do this? Because you don't want Trump in power. So what you did was you investigated him based on nonsense and got millions and millions of people to believe that Russia really wanted Trump over Clinton, when everything Clinton touches, everything Democrats touch apparently is hacked by Russia. So you think that Putin is scared? If you're a foreign adversary and every single computer system you want to enter, you do, why would you be scared? Why would you be frightened of that political party? Then there's, well, we're strong with NATO. This isn't the Cold War. You're so strong with NATO, and then Putin got 20% of U.S. uranium capacity, and yellowcake uranium was shipped out of the country, according to the New York Times. And you had Bill Clinton meeting with Putin at his home. This is during the time he got $500,000 from a Moscow investment bank. So the Russian intelligence has the goods on both Madam Secretary and Bill Clinton, if they have the goods on anyone, okay? You don't spend your entire life in public. You don't spend your entire life in politics with the Clinton Foundation, where Uranium One officials give money, and then suddenly it's Trump who's the big threat to Russia. It's Trump that's the big security risk. But the Mueller probe found nothing. They did not impeach President Trump on anything to do with Russia. And now William Barr and John Durham are just in the beginning of all of this. They're just in the beginning of all of this. And look, ladies and gentlemen, this is the issue. This is what you always have to remember. It doesn't matter. This is what William Barr and John Durham have to remember. They must remember this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Democrats and media don't believe any of this. Brian Morrow, H.A., you're a patriot. Keep preaching, brother. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for always watching. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. It doesn't matter. Eugene, hello. It doesn't matter if Democrats or media believe this. So, if anything, they were too timid in looking into Trump and Russia. Too timid? What do you want to do? Arrest the incoming president because there's a dossier purchased about him? They literally purchased a dossier. I can't say this enough. They purchased a dossier. Where's the Bill Clinton dossier? Oh my goodness, I just love those types of showers in Moscow. It's so good for your skin, especially after eating some asparagus. It's just so good for your skin. And that's why I look so young. Where is the dossier with Madam Secretary? Where is the dossier? I want to know where the dossier is with Madam Secretary and Bill. Why can't Matt Gaetz purchase a dossier? Why can't the RNC? Could you imagine if the Republican National Committee, could you imagine if the Republican National Committee purchased a dossier on Hillary Clinton? You would not hear the end of it. Oh my God. Oh my God. They purchased a dossier on Hillary. Oh my, in a hotel room. Oh my God. And they're using it? They're using a dossier and they just have confidence that she did something wrong? Oh my God. They don't, and then you have the 302s missing, which is, that's another story. Everything just is missing. So the real valid criticism is that it was slow and overly cautious when the signal started blinking red in the summer of fall of 2016 as Russians illegally hacked computer and email accounts. How do you know this? This is written by journalists as fact. We have no evidence. The ODNI has not stated with certainty this happened. James Clapper, when asked directly, has stated does not have any certainty. He has no concrete evidence. And the CrowdStrike CEO, the only company to look at DNC servers, states that they don't have concrete evidence. This is his exact wording. If you look, all of these people were asked. The CrowdStrike, as it relates to the DNC, we have indicators that data was exfiltrated. We did not have concrete evidence. This was the Russia probe transcripts from the House. This is what Adam Schiff didn't want you to know. So tell me how they base all of their politics on fantasy. And then when the fantasy is being unraveled, they say, well, this what? You can't. They have already convinced themselves that Russia hacked the DNC to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated, thus causing Debbie Wasserman Schultz to resign because they actually cheated a candidate. But see, they don't care about that. And no, you better believe 95% of Democrats don't know and don't care about any of this. And even when it turns out, because it is the biggest setup of all time and one of the greatest crimes in American political history, when it turns out that all of this was nefarious and done against Trump, then they wouldn't care anyway. But the Russians illegally hacked computers. How do you know? This is not a fact. This is based on confidence. This is an assumption. Accounts while Trump associates were interacting with key Russians more than 100 times. What does this even mean? If they were interacting with key Russians more than 10 billion trillion times, and you couldn't indict him on anything, then it's above the board. That it's totally fine. The Mueller probe found no evidence of anyone conspiring with Russia. So this is an example, ladies and gentlemen, of a phrase. This is in the Philadelphia Inquirer by a great journalist. As Russians illegally hacked computers and email accounts, based on what evidence do you have? Because CrowdStrike itself states that they don't have any concrete evidence. James Clapper said he saw no evidence. Susan Rice, Samantha Power, Loretta Lynch, none of them have any evidence. Who has this evidence? Because the United States government has not stated with certainty. It's only with high confidence. You cannot say, well, we're highly confident that the bank was even robbed. Nobody goes to jail for possibly robbing a bank that possibly was robbed. You need evidence of an actual event taking place. We didn't even have that with Trump Russia. And then, while Trump associates were interacting with key Russians for more than 100 times, it could have been more than 100 billion trillion times. Who cares? He wasn't getting millions of dollars from literally a uranium one from a from a Russian uranium company that Putin eventually owned. Who cares? Yeah, it's suspicious to you, but there's no evidence. You want to know what else is suspicious? Millions flowing into the Clinton Foundation from Uranium One. $500,000 speaking engagement from a Russian investment bank that Bill Clinton spoke to. Why do you think that they were paying him? For his vast knowledge of politics? He was big in the 90s. Tell me what he's done lately, Bill Clinton, aside from what Colin Powell said. So, the former president took a low-key approach to this info. He thought it might look like interference in an election. He was certain Hillary... What? Interference in the election? Okay, the whole thing was done in a surreptitious manner. Crossfire Hurricane was started right after mid-year exam. They literally covered up the fact that Clinton, you cannot transfer top secret and special access program intelligence on servers running for 4 years outside of the United States government. Then they're like, well, Ivanka Trump did the same thing. No, she did not. She did not have servers for 4 years and transfer top secret and special access program. It's the same thing. Their whole lives. And when they lose in November, and it's going to be Clinton again, They will, who knows how they'll react. They can either retreat into their own fantasy world and say that, this is an example of Putin controlling the country, or they can rebuild their political party. I think that they're going to just go again and say, we'll do it all over again. Clinton 2024. They're not going with Biden. Even the communications director the other day of the Democrat, said something to the effect that, we're not officially nominating Biden. I'm like, what? Okay. Who knows what the context was, but that wasn't the only statement. It was right after that. So we have, more to do with everything. So this is the biggest political scandal in American history. The biggest political scandal in American history. Old school dad, man! We must remember that propaganda is legal against Americans by Americans. Amazing as that is, it still blows me away. How does this stand? Honestly, old school dad, man, I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. Luke St. Martin, thank you. Eric H526, thank you. I don't understand it at all. I understand that, that was passed and it's a law now, but it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Johnny Boy, hello. Old school dad man, thank you so very. It's unbelievable. Florida man bear. I'm moderately to highly confident. You know the deal, man. And you know the deal. You know the deal. You know the deal, man. You know the deal. Come on, man. The push-ups. Want to do push-ups? They're not going with Biden because Biden wouldn't even get the popular vote. He would not even get the popular vote. James, thank you. He would not even get the popular vote. So, old school dad man, Florida man bear, thank you so very, very much. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. So then he goes, Sergei Kislyak with the goal of basically undermining President Obama's sanctions against Russia. So what? He had every right. He was the incoming national security advisor. He wanted to get him on the Logan Act. Then try it out. The reason they didn't get him on the Logan Act is because it would have uncovered everything they were doing with Carter Page and the Steele dossier and FISA reports, and they were doing 30 different things at once. That's why when they say, well, he pled guilty. He could have been, they could have got him on other things. They didn't get him on other things because they couldn't. Because they were doing 30 other underhanded, surreptitious, shady, nefarious things. What President Trump should have done, and this is one of his biggest mistakes in his presidency. One of his biggest mistakes of his presidency, okay, along with the separation of families. That was the biggest mistake in his presidency, in my view. But in terms of politics, and if you want to look at the cages were built under President Obama, but we can go on and on. I mean, President Trump isn't perfect overall. He did not destroy a country. He did not destroy a country in Libya the way Biden and Clinton did. Okay, they didn't preside over that. So you talking about the destruction of a country? Okay, that is the single biggest. One of the biggest mistakes any president has ever done. But one of the big political mistakes President Trump did was one of the biggest political mistakes President Trump did was fire Michael Flynn, force Michael Flynn out because media, and that was a full court press by media and Democrats, and that was before he could kind of understand what was going on. So he didn't realize what was going on. That's why they didn't inform President Trump of what they were doing, because they knew they had the media, because they were actually feeding information to liberal journalists. We know who they are. So all the while they're feeding information to liberal journalists at what would seem to be progressive publications or liberal publications. Then you have the dossier published. Then you have everyone talking about Trump Russia endlessly for 3 years. Okay, for 3 years, endlessly. So you've criminalized and legitimized suspicion as a valid basis for investigation. That was never the case. It was always with Clinton for years. Ever since Whitewater and Travelgate and Monica Lewinsky and every single scandal and controversy they have, correlation does not equal causation. Correlation does not equal causation. That's all you heard. Well, you can't prove anything. You can't prove anything. You can't prove anything. Servers for 4 years, really? You can't prove anything. It was for convenience. Do you know it wasn't? It was for convenience, and we deleted yoga emails. Do you know it wasn't yoga emails? No, because you deleted everything. Aha! Because you couldn't know anyway, because I deleted it. So you don't know. I could say it was emails from Martians. Yeah, but you deleted it. So that's 30,000 emails without government oversight. Then you had your attorneys do keyword searches, and they were not even qualified to decide what's classified and what's not classified. Well, you don't know. There's no classified data there. Well, almost certainly there was, but you don't know because it's deleted. Ah! So that's the way they work. That's the way they work. That's the way they work. They're fairly or not, lobbying crimes are rarely prosecuted, and the FBI had apparently decided to wind down its Flynn investigation when when new info surfaced about his Kislyak phone calls. What? New info about the Kislyak phone calls? There was nothing. There was literally nothing there. They interviewed Flynn on phone calls they already looked into. So then, what was the point? The Flynn apologists want to pretend this new questionable behavior was like a hockey goal after the buzzer. This new questionable behavior? What was questionable about the incoming national security advisor speaking with the Russian ambassador? Nothing. Now you're outraged the FBI does business now? No, if they did business against Clinton, you would be outraged. The whole country. It's so funny how Democrats are like, the Comey letter, oh my God, Comey letter, oh my God. And then she lost, like, oh, Comey. And then Comey's like, Trump memos. They're like, oh, we love Comey now. Here's one area where I could theoretically find common. Well, and then he brings up COINTELPRO, and then he brings up the history of the FBI's misdeeds as a reason not to care about what they did against Flynn. It's like, well, if you want to call conservatives hypocrites, fine. Actually, Trump supporters aren't really, the Trump base is not really the Paul Ryan, Marco Rubio, John McCain, intelligence community worshiping conservative. So there's so many tactics here that liberal that journalists do. Here you have, in fact, 3 of Flynn's predecessors as national security advisor have been convicted of crimes for withholding evidence, lying to Congress, and unauthorized taking classified documents. Well, Flynn had a conversation, and we have no clue if he lied to the FBI. The conversation was completely legal, number one. Number two, why should we trust Peter Strzok, who literally stated, we already know that the agent interviewing Flynn had not only an anti-Trump bias, he despised Trump. He despised Trump. We already knew he despised Trump. It wasn't, oh, he didn't really like. He despised Trump. So why would we trust anyone? Why would we trust anyone that was interviewing Michael Flynn? So this whole article here. But make no mistake, creating a non-existent scandal. Yeah, it's non-existent because Democrats were pulling the strings. And Democrats were engaging in completely, not just unethical, you're talking about criminal, 18 U.S. Code 371. You can't go and just investigate an incoming candidate based on a hunch from the intelligence community, which we utilized a Steele dossier to then deceive judges, and then go after Carter Page, and then go after Michael Flynn, and then go after anyone near President Trump with a Mueller probe that found nothing, under the pretext that, well, the Russians hacked the DNC because they were afraid of Clinton. It's so absurd. The whole thing's so absurd that only Democrats, only the biggest imbeciles on the planet would believe it. Democrats. Because Richard Grenell is completely reversing everything, and they don't believe Richard Grenell. William Barr, John Durham, completely reversing the whole narrative. They don't believe them. They believe Attorney General Loretta Lynch, James Clapper. James Clapper was the ODNI chief. William Barr is now the Attorney General, but the appeals to authority suddenly have stopped. Now it's, oh my God, these are loyalists of President Trump. They never said loyalists of Clinton. They never said that. No, even George Orwell will be spitting in his grave at the U.S. president's ability to turn lies into truth for the 60s. No. The George Orwell would be spinning in his grave because he literally wrote 1984 about Big Brother. Who do you think worships Big Brother? The James Clapper, Comey, Brennan, McCabe. They're on CNN, MSNBC. This is funny. The left uses George Orwell. George Orwell would have nothing to do with today's left. Nothing. He literally wrote a book about Big Brother, about an overreaching state where they know everything you're doing and where they spin and blame other geographic regions. So who blamed Russia? Who uses the intelligence community as fact when the intelligence community itself says, we're just bluffing? The epitome of what George Orwell warned us about is what the Democrats and media and Brennan and Comey and Strzok and McCabe have all done. So the truth, it's funny. Now it's truth versus lies. The reason they'll lose in November is because they've lied so much. They've altered the definition of truth. And what they've done with Trump is, with any president, when President Obama drank Flint water, that was a deceptive That was a deceptive and shameless political stunt. But they never fact-checked, and they never said, well, the water is still, because the water was not safe to drink. But they never said, here's another lie from an administration that keeps on lying about NATO interventions, and now we have, drinking Flint water. It's not safe to drink, even with a filter. And so he drank the water with a filter, and even the people in the audience were like, what is he doing? That was a lie right there. Bigger lie than anything President Trump told. But again, they don't fact check their side with the same maniacal fervor. Where now it's like a philosophy of language thing. They're like, well, the semantics means Trump was trying to insinuate this. So, and then so they have no basis to say anything about lies and truth because they literally wrote an article why Clinton needs to be two-faced in the New York Times. That's why, for once, I cannot squibble with what Trump wrote is indeed the biggest political crime in American history. Ah, okay, so now we know. The political crime is getting people to believe it's a political crime. But this is a great journalist, Philadelphia Inquirer. He's written some great books. But Versace CJ. Trump is truth-based, not being lied to by your president's administration must be a nice change. Yes. The interesting thing about President Trump and other presidents is the following. President Trump does not lie nearly as much, but any hyperbole or puffery or anything he says that is just embellishing, they're like, it's a lie. But if there's an embellishment from anyone else, it's okay. Servers with top secret intel is for convenience. What are you gonna do? Jimbo! Their hypocrisy is amazing. They are shameless. Yes, they are. But see, that's the thing. Skitcheroo, he'll be doing something very soon. Skitcheroo, thank you. I think I'm going to have a Bizarro World segment tomorrow. Jimbo! Thank you, Jimbo. Aussie J, thank you, Aussie J. Yeah, the hypocrisy is amazing. Yeah. I think what they're doing in California is beyond. It's unbelievable, and you're talking about though the average voter gleefully happy. Like, yeah, we could be stuck doing nothing even longer. Great, this is gonna help us. You have to understand, Los Angeles and California are like the epicenter of liberal politics, along with New York. So anything the government says, anything the governor or mayor says is like, oh my God, this is for us. It's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, we are in this San Francisco, defenders of the rule of law. This is interesting. Sound a dire warning about Attorney General Barr. No, he's actually upholding the rule of law. You want to cover up crimes. See, different story. 18 U.S. Code 371. They wanted to use that against President Trump for conspiring with intelligence officials of other countries. That never happened. So they want to set up and frame the Trump because they don't like him and they want him out of power. They're like, well, why would we do this? Well, you did this because you don't like Trump, because you wanted to stop President Trump. You wanted to hurt his presidency. That's why you did it. That's why you did it. They don't understand. Once they engage in all of this madness, then they say, well, what would be the point? The point is because you wanted to make things tough on President Trump. You wanted to make things very tough on him. So then you engaged in that behavior. Then you set up and frame people. So if he's focused on that, he won't be focused on other things. Well, we still had record low unemployment. Then they're like, you have Joe Biden tonight. He's like, oh, yeah, Trump should have been on top of this in January. All of November and December and January and February, you were impeaching President Trump. You literally wanted to remove him from office. They literally wanted to remove the president from office. To remove him. Then they say he should have been on top of the crisis. Meanwhile, they give a complete free pass to the governor of New York. A complete free pass. Completely free pass. Who said the risk remains low for the people of New York on March 1st. On March 1st. And nobody surrounded himself with more loyalists than President Obama or Bush. I mean, it's interesting too. It's kind of like you've never seen a more loyal administration than Trump's predecessor. You've never seen. You had Attorney General Loretta Lynch. You had the Attorney General meeting with Bill Clinton. They don't care. You think if William Barr met with Melania Trump, and then 2 days later they came out and they said, "Oh, you know what? Mueller found nothing." Could you believe? Oh my God, they would obsess. It's just look, believe, except when it's Biden. Russia, except when it's the Steele dossier. And it's just, and then, you'll see the same thing also. It's like, oh, Biden, except when Clinton takes the nomination. And she will. Hillary Clinton is the only chance they have because she raises the money. She's the only chance they have. Biden cannot raise money, and it's just about money. They know look, just because Biden's left standing, Democrats have really pulled the wool over everyone's eyes yet again. I mean, they're really amazing. They're really amazing at what they do because nobody, media is like, oh, well, that's it. He's won. We are not officially nominating. Okay. This is so funny, too. And Bernie Sanders is a part of all of this. My God. I mean, have you ever seen somebody... I hate to say this because I know he's a good human being, but have you ever seen a bigger phony and fake in your life? I mean, is there ever a person who... This is a man who not only was cheated in 2016, what happened to him is the basis of Trump Russia, the basis of a new Red Scare, Cold War nonsense. And he fomented it. Oh, it's too bad that Russia had to go after Hillary. They cheated him and all his voters in $200 million siphoned from his voters. And only 3 people went after the DNC, Jared Beck, Elizabeth Beck, and Nico House. Very courageous people. And they were given no help from the left. You think the left really You think the left took the Democratic Party to task for cheating Bernie? It's like it never happened. Then you fast forward to Iowa, and Mayor Pete wins, and then Bernie Sanders says nothing about it. Then he loses to Biden. He still won't drop out of the race. Then in Wisconsin, people are literally in the rain, getting soaked and getting pelted by hail to make sure they don't get Medicare for all. To vote against Bernie Sanders. People were in the rain in Wisconsin to ensure they wouldn't get Medicare for all. So, I mean, it's like, how many Democrats now are talking about Medicare for all? How about 0? So Bernie existed for the past 4 years to simply funnel votes back into the Democratic Party. And he rolled the dice in 2016. 2016, he had a viable campaign. I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. He had a viable campaign. He could have defeated Clinton if they really cared about winning, because at that point Bernie Sanders would have won. Thank God Trump won. It was a year where a populist message worked. This will be a year where people know that President Trump has a 49% approval rating in Gallup. He has a 49% approval rating in Gallup. 49%. That's higher than Congress. And higher than President Obama at this point in their presidencies. And that's with media. He's like impervious to negative media coverage. Every single day, the sky is falling. Oh my God, truth. There's no more truth. This is interesting. This is interesting. Why is it that they're always focused on everything Trump says, but if Biden literally says something like, I want the cure to be worse than the problem, we have to make the cure worse than the problem, they're okay with it. It's like it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Then you have Democrats worry Biden will be defined by Trump's attacks. Yeah, he will be defined. Yeah, that's true. He will be. Then you have a top Clinton official being quoted all the time. I mean, look. Hillary Clinton is going to be nominated. I will have made the biggest political call of all time, ladies and gentlemen. The absolute biggest political call of all time. He's already losing. 2016 repeat, Trump revives Clinton playbook to battle Biden. Look, he's already ahead of Biden in swing states. They're not going to go with Biden because he obviously loses big time. And it wouldn't even be close. It wouldn't even be close. They wouldn't even get the popular vote. Democrats worry Biden will be defined by Trump's attacks. Yeah, because he will. And then you have the top Clinton official. Hard to think of a president who won after letting their opponent do all the talking. Yes, he was vice president. Yes, his approval numbers are high. No, they're not. If you didn't have media propping up and covering up every single bizarre, absurd comment from Biden, you wouldn't have his approval numbers would be in the tank. You can't glide to November on that alone. But think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Hillary Clinton takes the nomination in August. In August, you have September, October, November. You have September and October. You have 3 months, less than that. You have August, September, October. You have 2.5 months where she can just ignore the entire 30 years of controversies and failed foreign policy decisions and everything. And if she waits until if they keep the Biden charade until August, I mean, people are going to be tired. They're going to be done. They're not going to want. They're not going to want this. They're not going to want Biden. They're going to beg for Clinton. Okay, they're not going to go with the governor of New York because the second his tweet comes out, notice how nobody knows that he tweeted on March 1st. Nobody knows, nor does anyone care in the media. You're basically dealing, ladies and gentlemen, for the next 5 months with activists. So the journalist is the journalism. You maybe Julio, I don't think so. I think the in-person benefits the most. Thank you, Julio. Thank you. You have, ladies and gentlemen, the next 5 months. So June. So let's say like half of this month, and then June, July, August. So June, July, August. So basically, you're looking at 3 months. We have to be stuck with Biden for 3 months unless he drops out. It depends. If he picks Hillary Clinton as his vice president, then we know what's going on. If he picks anyone else as his vice president, the problem with picking anyone other than Clinton is that Biden would overshadow the vice president because Biden would be, have greater name recognition. And then each one of his candidates, whether it's Elizabeth Warren or Kamala Harris, have their own controversies. And then Amy Klobuchar, if she sat near you while you were eating dinner, eventually when restaurants are open and life gets back to normal, gee, I wonder who wants to stop that from happening. Which political side? If Amy Klobuchar sat next to you, you wouldn't know who she was. Nobody knows who Amy Klobuchar is really. Nobody knows what she stands for. Nobody knows anything about Klobuchar. Aussie J! 2016 election poll. So the duplicity of MSM had with DNC. I trust the MSM as far as I can. Yes, Aussie J. Jimbo, Aussie J, Webby. All the Australian viewers. Thank you so very much. There's a bunch of other ones too. Some great ones too. Lisa.
Chuck Grassley. I just can't believe.
It's morphing into. Chuck Grassley's like, this is Chuck Grassley during Kavanaugh.
I want to thank everyone for this wonderful occasion where we get to nominate a Supreme Court justice. And this is a part of the Constitution. What? Oh, no. Can somebody bring in SEAL Team 6? The protesters, they're protesting again. Oh, my God. Let me start again. It is a big honor for me as a senator from Iowa.
He actually started it off with,
this is a wonderful occasion, part of the Constitution and an American tradition.
And then you heard, and then you had the Hollywood celebrities looking like, oh my God, what a show. What a poop show. It was a yearbook photo. Yearbooks. Okay, look at the two. Yearbook and then Larry King call-in. Where you can't go back in time and whatever. Oh, my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back at around 11:15 in about an hour. We'll do this again. So there'll be like an intermission for about an hour. But ladies and gentlemen, God bless. To my super chat, thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. CG3SSF, yes, the salad comb. That's a controversy in and of itself. Ladies and gentlemen, be here. All 527 people, be here in about an hour or so. I'll have another live stream. Everyone, all 528 people, subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. I'll have a segment up very soon on that one. And subscribe to Bizarro World Goodman and share my article in the Times of Israel. Hillary Clinton, not Biden, will be nominee. and share the Huffington Post article I wrote in 2017, Hillary Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. Michael Lee, thank you. Absolutely, I will. Sluggo, 3 Slug. Thank you, Sluggo. Thank you. God bless you all. Have a great evening, everyone. Be back here. In about an hour or so. All right, everybody. Thanks, everybody.